up and down, or do you want me lateral?
That's fine right there. Just how you are.
Whatever's comfortable, whatever's easiest
Yeah,
for you.
it's all the same to me.
That's all good.
Actually,
all
I'm gonna put it up. I think that looks a little better.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're rolling. Damage Plan MMA podcast. I'm Jason. As always, my co-host, the voice of MMA in Utah, and future 170-pound champ in Utah, Zack Partridge.
What up?
I got to clean that up a little bit.
We got to work on that. The voice of Utah sounds good for now, but
all right,
future champ.
Future 170-pound
I mean,
champ.
I feel like I'm still the 185 champ. Nobody ever beat me, just a ref. So,
well, we're not here to talk about. We're not here to talk.
No,
about
we're not
you.
here to talk about me.
We're welcoming. We got our fighter spotlight today. We're welcoming UFC fighter Justin Jaynes to the podcast. Justin, thanks for joining us, man. The guitar hero.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate you guys having me. Enjoying this beautiful hot day here in Las Vegas. Ready to get some weight off, man. What's going on, boys?
Heck yeah, man.
How did you get the nickname Guitar Hero?
It is, back in my amateur day, I'll keep the story brief, but back in my amateur day, I was kind of a boring fighter because I would just take guys down and try to grapple them and look for a rear naked choke. So I started to come up with little gimmicks to get people excited to watch me fight. And, the Guitar Hero one was a dare by a college roommate of mine, Corey Michaelitis, dared me to wear a headband and aviator sunglasses, strum my Guitar Hero all the way down to the ring. And I ended up doing it a couple times. And again, most people didn't really remember my fights at that time because I wasn't doing very much striking. But they'd always be like, dude, you're the guy that walked out to the fight with the guitar. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's me. So I did a couple other gimmicks, but, on my UFC debut, I haven't went by the Guitar Hero since like 2012. And during my debut, Bruce Buffer announced me as the Guitar Hero. And I kind of was shocked because I hadn't heard it in 9 years.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, the UFC called and they're like, we want you to keep that nickname. And, it's just different from everyone trying to sound tough. You're just the Guitar Hero, man. So it's stuck. And here I am, Justin, the Guitar Hero Jaynes. Let's go.
I like it, baby. I like it.
Yeah, I dig it. That's fun. I remember your UFC debut. That was a short notice fight, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yeah, fortunately, I've had the opportunities, but unfortunately, all my fights in the UFC have been less than 3-week notice. My first 2-day notice. My second fight was 3-week notice at 145, which was just a miserable thing. And my third notice, and then my last fight was 2-day notice.
I mean, and it's not like Gavin Tucker's a super like, hey, here's this submission specialist killer. Can you fight him in 48 hours?
Yeah, the debut was Frank Camacho,
right?
And I just wanted the opportunity, man. I stayed diligent with my training all year round, even during COVID. And, I always thought the opportunity would arise. Fortunately, it did against a guy that, that I knew win or lose, it was going to be a fireworks fight. Frank and I fight very similar. We want to stay in the pocket. We just want to exchange and knock people out. I didn't think I was going to be able to put him away within a minute. Obviously, I thought, we're going to get in and beat each other up. But fortunately, I was able to clip him early and get out with the $50K bonus.
Yeah. Cash it.
Cash money.
I mean, you're the guy. You're basically the poster child of the type of people. It's like, you don't get ready, you stay ready. Cause that's when those opportunities come, right? I mean, you get a short notice fight, you go in, get signed, knock him out in 41 seconds, get performance bonus, on top of everything. I mean, what, I guess my question is, what has that always been kind of your thing, is just always ready? I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, any weight class within reason.
I have fought as high as 205 pounds. This will be my 73rd official MMA fight. It's not that I like to fight like it's like, oh man, let's go to the bar and get in fights with people. I genuinely just love to compete. I've always loved to compete, even since I was 9-10 years old wrestling. My first year wrestling, I had 20 matches. I had 1 win, but for whatever reason, I wanted to stick with it and continue to do it. The same thing with fighting. I lost my first fight. And then I was able to, my first amateur fight, and I was able to win a couple in a row, take a couple losses. I'll fight anybody, anytime. I genuinely fight for 2 reasons. I genuinely fight because I enjoy competition. I enjoy the chess match of fighting. And with that being said, the other part I love is I really want to prove that I am one of the best fighters in the world.
I like it.
Absolutely. So this is be your first full camp in the UFC. Is that correct?
My first full camp. And, as always, my whole UFC career has been based around making weight. And I haven't been able to really focus on fighting or technique or getting better, because as soon as I sign a contract, all right, how much are we over? Oh, we're 20 pounds over. All right, we got 2 weeks to lose 20 pounds. Or with the Gavin Tucker, I stepped on the scale 178. All right, we got fucking 3 weeks to lose, 33 pounds. All right, let's fucking go. It was tough for me to break down Gavin from a technical standpoint. He's so diverse. He has great wrestling. He has great defense. He has great striking. Unfortunately, my gas tank wasn't able to hold up after about 3 minutes into the first round. I was so dead from the weight cut. Unfortunately, I couldn't put it together, and I still almost finished him twice.
You did.
But
I remember.
Almost doesn't count. I gassed out 3 minutes into the first round. I tried to survive. I tried to do what I could do. Even the second round, I tried to put something together in the third. I just was too tired to do anything.
So I kind of feel like, though, that the UFC does reward those types of guys that I see guys that were willing to bet on themselves, take short notice fights, fight anybody out of, a preferred weight class even or whatever. I feel like those guys do kind of get rewarded and taken care of in a different way than the guys that kind of sit around and wait for the right opponent and the right location. I don't know what else ever goes into it. You feel like the UFC's you're on a 3-fight skid, but it's not very optimal conditions. Do you feel like that they understand that?
100%. I mean, you're hitting it right on the head. I know you're stuttering with what you're trying to ask, but I know exactly what you're trying to ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're exactly right. I've lost 3 fights in a row, but with that being said, I make weight every single time. I show up. It's not like I'm walking in, getting knocked out.
Yeah.
Walking out, I'm trying to beat these guys. I mean, I feel that so far in my fights, I've been put at a disadvantage, but I love it. I want the adversity. I want the opportunity. These aren't short notice. I don't consider these short notice fights. I consider these opportunities to expedite the process of getting to where I want to be. I'm 31 years old. I'm not getting any younger. This will be my 73rd fight. I've taken tons and tons of damage over the years. They're giving me guys that have been in the UFC for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, because if I knock these guys out, it's going to expedite me to the top. So, I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, poor me, fuck that, man. I love these opportunities and I'm going to continue to take them. Every time I do a podcast, like, is your next fight going to be short notice? If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have 8 weeks to train for Charles Rosa, a very, very tough fighter. He's been in the UFC nearly 10 years. This will be his 10th fight. It'll be my 5th fight. I mean, I'm very grateful for the training opportunity. But with that being said, if they were to say, hey, you got to fight Charles Rosa in 2 weeks, you bet your ass I'm fucking jumping on the road. I'm showing up, and I'm going to have the same game plan as I have for this. Knock his fucking head off and take $50K home.
You're good. I feel like so many fighters at all the levels are missing that mindset of fighting anybody, anytime, anywhere, and being that guy, because the ones that do it, when they win, it pays off.
Pays off. Yeah. Big dividends.
It pays off. I mean, look at what it just did for Brandon Moreno. He took that first fight against Figgy it was pretty short. I think they turned it around in 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it was a short turnaround. I can't remember the circumstance of why, but it was a short turnaround for sure.
But that comes with opportunities, you have to win to build that momentum, but putting yourself in that situation. And if you're that guy, the UFC will keep giving you those opportunities. And when it cashes big.
Yeah.
We see that time and time again. So I think that's awesome. I mean, like I said, I remember you, I know you as the guy that takes short notice fights and fights anybody, and win or loss in your 4 fights in the UFC, you've always put on a great performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing, I'm a big advocator on going out on my shield, man. Benitez fight, what a great fight. What a great guy to be in the cage with. Mowgli Benitez, one of the toughest strikers I've ever did. And you know what? It's probably my biggest asset, and it's my biggest downfall as well as my ego, because, I'm going against Mowgli Benitez, an ATT kickboxer, one of the best, the hardest kicker that Khabib's coach, has said. I'm trying to think of his name. Help me out here. What's Khabib's coach's name? Fuck, the head coach at ATT.
Oh, oh my!
I know.
I usually don't blank.
Yeah.
I'm usually the encyclopedia.
Yeah, Zack's the encyclopedia. That's why I got him on here.
Either way, he said that Mowgli was the hardest kicker that he's ever kicked with it at featherweight. And he's talking about all the kickers. And instead of, in my head, like the right thought should be, all right, what can I do to negate his kicks? What can I do to take his kicks away and take him down? Instead, my thought was, fuck it. He doesn't kick that hard. Let's feel it.
Yeah.
And that motherfucker kicked. And he fucking 100 times, it felt like. And he kicked hard as fuck. But guess what? I ate all his best kicks, excluding the knee. And I walked him down. My legs were battered and bruised, but watching it on TV, you would never know that I was hurt, or and sometimes my ego gets the best of me. I feel that there's a generation gap right now. I feel like I'm the last guy to come off that old school generation gap. You look at guys like fucking Chris Lieben. You look at guys like Robbie Lawler. They show up and they fight. They throw down. They bite down on their mouthpiece. They want to fight. They're not hand choosing their opponents like the new generation, the Conor McGregor generation, as I like to call. Oh, this guy fucking sucks. All right, well, I'd rather fight him than a fucking top ranked guy. I'm not saying there aren't guys, but I do feel that I am the last of a few generations, a last couple fighters of a generation that just want to show up and fight. I don't give a fuck. Like, if they're like, hey, you got to fight Khabib next weekend, I'm showing up. I'm not, if you got to fight fucking Mowgli Benitez 2 weeks after you have COVID. All right, let's fucking go. We're talking about a world-class kickboxer. And honestly, you know what? I'm biased to the situation. Until I ate the knee 4 minutes into the first round, I feel I was winning the round. He was cut. I rocked him. I hit him with this big cross.
Yeah, we remember.
Flash. I'm like, fuck. My confidence kept building and building and building. And next, he hit me with a 1-2 down the pipe. And I remember consciously thinking in my head, all right, he hit me with the shot. That's his best 1-2. All right, when he throws that cross, his left cross to southpaw, I'm looping over with my overhand right. And he feinted in with the 1-2 and delivered a knee and sent me packing. But, again, that's 2 weeks after I had COVID. Again, not a great circumstance, but a great opportunity to show what I have on short notice and show that I can strike with the best of them.
By the way, Javier Mendez.
Javier Mendez.
Yep, that's exactly it. Yep, that's 100%
Javier
right.
Mendez.
Javier Mowgli Benitez is the hardest kicker he's ever held pads for.
I mean,
crazy.
You're the end of a dying breed. We have a couple guys locally here in Salt Lake City that have just been around forever, and they're that way. And it's like, and I've only been in MMA for about coming up on following the sport for about 5 years, participating for about 4. And and it is interesting for me to watch about the people. I know I'm not going to the UFC. I'm not making a career out of it. I'm an amateur fighter. I do it for fun. I'm an insurance agent, I do it for fun, but I do see these guys that say that they want to go to the UFC, but then I see them kind of sit out and pick and choose. And I'm just like, man, that's not the guy. But there are a few guys every once in a while. I have a kid that I train with at my gym. He'll be in the UFC here in a few years. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. But they're getting fewer and fewer far between. That's what I've noticed in the 4 years. That breed, your breed, that is becoming less and less common.
I agree with you 100%. And again, that's why I fought 5 times in 1 year, because UFC knows that, hey, look, we had a fallout. Oh, Jaynes will take it. Oh, we had a fallout. Jaynes will take it. Why aren't they calling other guys? Because they don't want to fucking deal with the bullshit. Everyone's trying to renegotiate their contract. Oh, you want me a short notice? Oh, pay me more money. I don't give a fuck. I make money. The UFC pays me incredible amounts of money. I hear people crying about the money they make. Dude, go fucking work a 9 to 5 and tell me how bad it is. I love the way I'm treated by the UFC. I love the money I make in the UFC. I get excited when I see Jason House, my manager, answer or calling me, when it's like, because I know something good's gonna happen. And again, I'm just going back to it. That's why they keep calling me, man. This is my 5th in 1 year. Nobody fights. I shouldn't say nobody. Not many guys are fighting 5 times in a year before, especially in their debut. And you know what? I'll fight fucking 10 times in a year. As long as I'm healthy, as long as I'm in shape, as long as I can make weight, I'll just keep fighting, knocking these guys out.
You're on the short list. You, Kevin Holland, and there was another guy, but it was that type of guy. You all made names for yourselves though. Last year during COVID, like, yep, let's do it. Yep, let's do it.
Well, and you're not just going in there to fight. You're putting on a show. Like, you're fighting. You're not just going in there and laying down and taking a shot and just taking your paycheck and leaving. Like, you're bringing it.
I try, man. Like I said, and my last fight against Devontae Smith, I hadn't trained 1 day for that fight. You're trying to fight a top level guy. Devontae Smith is going to make a lot of noise in the UFC if he can get his wrestling.
Absolutely.
Down, he's going to be a fucking stud in the next year or two, maybe top 15. They call me up like 2 days or 3 days out, like, hey, you want to fight Devontae Smith this weekend? I told Jason, I said, I haven't been training. So I said I took an injury in January, so I haven't sparred at all for this fight. He's like, well, it's up to you. I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to take the fight. I just want to let you know that, hey, look, I'm coming in swinging. He's like, I don't care if you do spinning back fist and he knocked seconds. Like, let's go. I was like, oh, I'm not getting knocked down in 10 seconds. I plan to take it to this guy. But with the short notice fights, again, the preparation. If I was to rematch Devontae Smith on even a 5 or 6 week notice camp, I'd be wrestling every day. I'd be closing the distance on him every day because the motherfucker has a 78-inch reach.
It's a huge reach.
12-inch reach on me or 11-inch reach on me. How can I stand to strike with this guy? But then in the same aspect, how can I depend on my cardio to last 15 minutes, wrestling this guy that's been training? So, my objective was, all right, let's try to knock this guy out. And unfortunately, I couldn't get within his range. And, when I did try to make a grappling exchange, my eye got swollen up and, fight got ended, unfortunately. But again, just in one of those cases where I came in swinging. I mean, I didn't miss him by much. I'll tell you that.
So tell me I think I know the answer to this based off what you just said. Tell me what you really think about like these guys complaining that you're not making YouTube star money.
You know what? It's a lot of greed, man. And you know what? To each their own. Like if these guys think that they're not making enough money, maybe then they should do another job, go to another job, go to another promotion. Because with the money, but with that being said, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. For the last 10 years prior to getting to the UFC, I've made less than $20,000. I'm 31 years old. I've lived off less than $20,000 for the last 10 years. So when I get, one of my paychecks, it's like, holy shit, I just got paid 2, 3 times, 4 times as much as I've made in 1 year. Like, I can live off this for a minute. So, you know what I mean? I think it's just, where I come from. I'm not saying I came from being poor or anything. I never went without. My family always provided, but we never had the silver spoon. We more had plastic spoons when we were growing up. And I love it, man. I love that I came from that background, because when I do get these 20, 30, 40, 50, 100K, 1,000 paydays, I feel like I'm a millionaire and I can fucking just do whatever I want and live life like a champion,
It's fascinating because I'm a business owner. Jason's a business owner. I look at it from like Dana's perspective. I'm like, I feel like he invests a lot back into the fighters with like the PI and does a lot of stuff like that. And I'm like, if you look at it and if you're not picking and choosing fights, you could stay about as active as you want. And It's like, some people are like, well, I can't live off of what I make because I only get to fight 2 or 3 times a year. And then I'm like, if you're healthy, why are you only fighting 2 or 3 times a year, bro? Like, whatever. But like I said, what do I know? I'm just an amateur fighter that sells insurance on the side.
I'm going to back everything you're saying. I know that you're kind of mixing words and stuff, but you're exactly 100% right. You want to get paid more, fight more, win more.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't negotiate my contract. I could live off what I'm getting paid right now. If I stayed in the rest of these for the rest of my life, I don't need any more pay raise. I'm going to get them because I'm going to fucking get knockouts and get exciting, but I'm not requiring I do not need a pay raise to fight right now. And again, that's why the UFC keeps calling back. I'm a no nonsense, no bullshit kind of guy. They call me, they ask me to fight. I say, yes, I show up, I make weight. I don't make excuses. I don't negotiate. I just say, all right, yeah, let's go. Maybe my manager negotiates. Actually, I shouldn't say maybe. I know he negotiates for me, but it's not like I'm requiring to. He's doing it for himself because he's paid as well.
That's his job, though. Your job's to fight. That's his job.
Exactly. I don't call him. And man, I have such a great management team. Iridium Sports, Jason House, Lance. Ed, like we have such a great team. Jeremy, we have such a great team of guys, dude. It's all I have to do. And for the first time in my life, all I have to do is focus on training and making weight. And, it's some of these, there's so many great management teams out there right now. I'm very blessed that I can, be with Jason and we're able to work the way we can right now.
Nice.
Freaking awesome.
So the UFC, normally when you sign a contract with the UFC, your pay is already determined, right? It's not like you if you get a 4-fight contract, you already know what you're making, right? Like you can't go back and renegotiate that, can you?
You cannot renegotiate an already signed contract, but what you do a lot is when you get 2 or 3 fights in, you can renegotiate a contract. So I signed a 4-fight deal with the UFC. I fought 3 times, and then my 4th fight, Devontae Smith, instead of it being my 4th fight on the contract, we started a new contract. So 4. So I didn't officially complete my first contract. I just signed a new one for 4 more fights.
Nice.
So technically it's like a 7-fight contract.
And that's pretty common, like all sports too, right? Coaches do it, players,
Yeah.
athletes do it. They're going to be a free agent. They know that's where they want to be. They know the organization wants to have them, so they just extend the contract, right?
Exactly. And you know what? And then, like I said, I had a great negotiation, 4 more fights and a little bit more money. So I'm very, very thankful for that as well.
Very cool. I love it. I think more fighters like you should be a little more outspoken about stuff like that, because I think people hitch on the wagon too much of I'll say the recent one. Paulo Costa came out and was like, we need to be making what these YouTube stars. And Dana's like, well, then you should have effing started a YouTube channel when you were 13, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you're a fighter. That's not what you do. And your last performance sucked. I didn't say that. Dana said that. But I mean, he kind of got worked, and he was supposedly drunk. So whatever. And he does that. And then they asked him, because Marvin Vittori called him out after the fight over the weekend. And Dana's like, Dana's like, I don't know. It sounds like he's going to be sitting on the shelf for a while. It's like, man, you're complaining about pay, and then you do something to sit yourself on the shelf. Like, I'm like, you should. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do, but like, I wish more fighters that had your perspective, because I'm sure there are plenty that do. They're just not as loud about it, or it doesn't get covered the way it seems the way that a lot of UFC fighters complaining gets covered.
It's one of those things. Don't get me wrong. If Jake Paul hit me up tomorrow and say, hey, look, I'll pay you $500,000 to come fight me and leave the UFC, of course I'm going to do it. Like, it's not.
And you'd smoke him.
But I'm still very happy. That I would love that would be a dream matchup. But without that, I'm just still very grateful for the opportunity I have. I'm not a YouTube star. I'm a fighter, a real fighter. I'm not Jake Paul. I'm not Logan Paul. I don't have, I don't, make bullshit podcast stories, of me doing goofy, stupid shit to get people to like. I just fucking show up and I fight. When people see, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, they're actors to me, and they're great. Oh, yeah. They're putting on this front that, hey, look at me, I'm a fighter. You can box a little bit. Don't get me wrong. You can't. But I tell you what, I am a fighter. I'm a real fighter. I'm not an actor.
Yeah.
When you like this time, I think Jake Paul is going to have a rude awakening with Tyron Woodley, because Tyron Woodley is the fucking dog. I have him at plus 125 right now. I'm stacking this up. We're talking about a real champion fighter that's fighting an actor, and an actor that boxes. He's not a fighter. He's never been pushed. He's never been fucking dropped and had to come back. So with that,
thank you, Justin.
Look at everything that's actors make tons of money. Look at it, fucking Hollywood. Look at all the stars. They make tons of money. You look at pro athletes. Not everybody in the NBA makes $20 million, $30 million, $60 million. Not everybody in the NFL. They even when they get these. So a good friend of mine is Jerome Sapp, and he played 10 years in the NFL. He played for the Colts. He played for the Ravens. He played under Ray Lewis. He played under Peyton Manning. He was explaining to me one time, you see these big, 10, 20, $30 million contracts. These are long-term contracts. If you get hurt in the season, you don't get that money. It's just in paper.
They're not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed.
About that much of it's guaranteed.
Exactly. Yeah. Not everyone realizes that. When you see, he just got signed for $90 million. Yes. Unless I think he gets a signing bonus. But when you see these long-term 10-year contracts for $90 million, he has to stay uninjured and he has to perform, because if you're not performing, you're not getting paid either. So again, going back, I would love to get paid millions and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But with that being said, it's just not, at least for now, that's just not in my repertoire. I'm just going to keep fighting, making my 5 figures, making my 6 figures, and living the best life I can. As long as I can hunt in the fall and fish in the spring, I don't give a fuck about anything else.
Where do you hunt at? Do you go back to Michigan to hunt?
Dude, I hunt like a motherfucking maniac, dude. I hunt in Michigan. I did an elk hunt in Colorado last year.
Oh, nice.
Shot a monster mule deer 2 years ago in Nevada. Shot a huge a ram last year in Nevada. Shot antelope in Nevada. Like, Nevada is an incredible spot to hunt. Within 30 minutes from my house, shot a monster ram. 2 hours from my house, shot an antelope. 2 hours from the house, shot a 202-inch mule deer. Shot a cow elk last year. Shot a cow elk the year before. Shot a nice ape. And I hunt Michigan as well. Being from Michigan, we still have a horse farm out there.
Yeah.
Hunting and fishing are my primary passions. You can see my shirt. If you're going to fight with your girlfriend, just go hunting. You're good to go.
Do you ride whales too? I heard you ride. Roman says you ride whales.
There is a rumor out there that open water, man, and that is a very true rumor. We're out tuna fishing in miles off the coast of San Diego, maybe 100 miles off. The whale surfaces right next to our boat. First thing I think is like, fuck, I want to jump in and swim around with it, and then, the waves kind of pulled me and the boat apart. Next thing I know, the whale is swimming towards me, and I was relatively panicked. But when it got within about 5 feet of me, it just stopped moving like it was dead. And it was a very surreal experience because, it felt to me that this animal had some kind of emotion. Like he didn't have ill emotion towards me. It felt like he wanted to be involved with me. I don't know. It was super strange. And then it bumps up next to me, and the waves and the whale we're just kind of hitting each other, like shoulder to shoulder. My shoulder's hitting him. And I was like, fuck, I don't want to make this spook him and freak him out. So I put my arm around the whale. So just to hold tight. And then the whale drops down like 3 or 4 feet in the water. And when it resurfaces, I was straddled over the whale's back. And you can see it on my Instagram, JAY09MI.
Oh, we got to check that out. We're on that. We're all over that.
And being a white guy from the Midwest, when you get on top of a big animal, what's the first thing you do? Come on, you guys have to know.
Yeehaw.
You fucking throw up one hand.
Yeah.
Dude. So check out my Instagram if you want to see the video of me riding.
It's a TikTok.
It's not on TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but on Instagram it is. But yeah, dude, it was this very surreal and very emotional experience. Actually, like like when I got back to the room, it's all I could, because we went back to San Diego. It's all I could think about, and I actually felt like a little sad. And then the next day when we woke up, I remember thinking in my head, like, man, I really hope we come across this whale again. I'd love to get back in the water with him. And
yeah,
we never did, but it was just a surreal, life-changing experience.
That's crazy. That is crazy. That
is so cool.
Zach's
I'm just watching it. It's so cool. I'm watching it. It's freaking awesome, bro.
I got.
Show it up, man. It's fucking badass, man. It was, like I said, it was a very surreal experience. When I got in the water, I kind of just wanted to check the whale out from afar. And next thing I know, I was on top of him, and that's it, man. It was so surreal. It felt like that the whale almost had empathy. Like, half of me thinks like maybe it thought I was in trouble. He saw me go off the boat, thinks I'm in trouble, comes over to help me. I don't fucking know what's going on. We're talking about a very intelligent mammal that can communicate with other mammals.
Yes.
That has been known to help people and save people before. It's just like you're in a pool and your dog's barking at you, and if you get close, he'll grab onto your clothes or grab onto your raft and pull you. Maybe it was like that.
Maybe it was.
I don't know, but I like to think that it was like that.
That's crazy. I went back to Michigan in November for the hunt this past year. I went to up to Gaylord. I don't know if you're familiar.
Monster bucks in Gaylord, man.
Oh. You want to hear my story? It's on my Instagram too. So I get second day, I get in my blind, right? I climb up my blind because I'm about 15 feet up in the air. Get up there, couple hours pass. Monster 8-point walks right by me. Guess what? No bullets in my gun.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh.
So I'm trying to make the explanation for this, but you can't carry your gun in your car. You have to put it back in the case, right? When you're driving back to my sister's house. So I unloaded my gun, put my bullets in my pocket. Well, for lunch, I ended up taking my jacket off and I set my bullets on the table. And I had a backpack with a full box on it, but this was our last night staying. So I thought, I don't need my backpack. We're just going. I touched my jacket and I thought I had my bullets in there because I felt something. It was freaking AA batteries. I had 5 AA batteries in there. So I got this freaking monster buck. I got about a 2-minute video of him just walking.
At least people believe it though.
Oh, dude, I lowered the window. I must have dry fired like 4 shots. It didn't even move. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. Yeah.
That makes me sick. That's like, so I'm a big bow hunter. I love bow hunting. I like it more than gun hunting. I think it's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
But you're wrong. I love gun hunting as well. I shot that 200-inch mule deer with a muzzleloader. But anyways, in Nevada, you have to put in for it, and then you have to get a truck. So I always put in for my bow tag, but typically I'll get a muzzleloader or a rifle. Anyways, yeah, dude, I forgot my release more times than I care. I walk a mile out to my stand. I get to my stand, no release, and it's like no. And then I'm like, all right, well, if a deer comes in, I'm gonna have to pull it back with my fingers, but it's fucking tough. So, anyways, I feel you. That
was hard. But luckily, nobody got the 8-point, so I'm going back this year.
Let's go.
I'm going to get my redemption. Maybe it'll be a 10-point this year.
No, maybe. That 8-point's definitely going to be bigger. If not a bigger 8-point, wider, strong.
you know what's crazy is the bucks up there aren't as big as the one down south by in the city where all those fields are, like those cornfields. Those bucks are freaking massive, man.
Yeah, it's I think the best spot I've hunted at in Michigan is Jackson,
Okay.
Jackson and Olivet. The population out there is so great, and where I'm at on the east side it's great land and great farm country, and we do produce big deer, but it's overhunted. And every corner, every fucking time I'm walking, I mean, on my 200 acres, we own 40 acres. It's backed up to about 200 acres. There's like 600 on that 200 acres, and it's just overhunted. And I shot a nice buck last year with my bow, nice 7-point, big, thick, wide 7-point. I thought it was an 8-point, but it was a 7-point. But that was a fluke. I haven't shot. I do 8s and up. Typically, I won't shoot anything smaller than an 8-point in Michigan, and I haven't shot a buck in the last 10 years. I mean, I pass 6s every year, but neighbor down the street's going to shoot them, or their kid's going to shoot them or something. So I'm a big advocator on taking out does in the during early season and big bucks in November. But again, I'm very picky. I only do 8s and up in Michigan. Jackson, my buddy that lives in Jackson, he does 10s and up, and I haven't seen a 10-point in fucking 8+ years. So
that's a monster. Yeah. Do you ever get up to Utah?
It's actually funny. There's a guy, his name's Mark. You ever heard of Ozonics?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of it.
Ozonics is something that you put, it's I thought it was bullshit until I used it. Ozonics, it's a very expensive unit, and it's about this big. And when you're hunting, you put it in the tree over top of your head, and it's supposed to mask your scent for the ozone. So like now the wind's blowing in my face, I would put the Ozonics facing the same way the wind's blowing. So as the wind goes through, it mixes and it kills all your scent to the deer. And I thought it was bullshit. But after my 50K bonus, I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. That 7-point was downwind of me, 15 yards, and I was on the ground, just sitting next to a tree, and it never winded me. So I'm a firm believer in Ozonics. Long story short, I bought it off a guy in Utah, and we stay in touch. And I keep wanting to put tags in for Utah, but I keep drawing so good in Nevada, I just don't have time. So, but no, to answer your question, no, I haven't been down there yet.
Well, you got one of your boys. Yeah, you should make the trip up on Friday and watch your boy fight Aleko.
Oh, I got to worry about fight next weekend, man.
That's right. You're right. The next weekend. So yeah, you don't want to drive up there.
But dude, if you're hunting out there in Utah and you need a partner, or you even need someone just to come carry your shit out, man, let me know, dude. I love being out in the desert. I love, and that's the thing. I get a lot of hate on Instagram and Facebook. Oh, you just kill, but God's beautiful creatures. For one, so that doesn't really, it doesn't matter to me. And for two, you know what? If they were put here by God, they were put here for a reason, and they're put here to feed. And I don't get off on killing animals. I get off on the stories I get, hunting the animal. When I hunted for 2 weeks straight, and I passed some monsters. I passed 180-inch deer, 3 or 4 of them, because I wanted this 200-inch deer. So it's not like I'm just going out aimlessly killing. I'm doing it for the stories. I'm doing it for the people I'm with. We have great stories, and we have a great time going up there.
I told my son the exact same thing. When we went back to Michigan, we ended up leaving a day early, and my son was pissed. He wanted to stay and keep hunting. And I told him, I'm like, dude, it's the experience. It's getting to be with my family and my sister, brother-in-law, nieces, nephews. It's telling stories, You know how it is. You go hunt all morning and come back for lunch and you bullshit. Oh yeah, I saw this big monster deer. I just couldn't get a shot, or whatever.
And to me, honestly, that's what it's all about. Like I said, I haven't shot a big buck in Michigan in over 10 years because I'm very picky. But with that being said, I don't go without. I still get a doe or two every year. And, but again, back to the stories of the craziness. This is the first year my son was excited to go hunting, and I got him a crossbow, and we went out, and I had a perfect spot for him. I was like, all right, he's going to get a deer on the first day, second day. We hunt for 5 days and he never gets a shot. We spook a couple and he's just so devastated. He doesn't think he's ever going to get it. Finally, on that 5th day, he shoots a doe. And I remember when he shot, I got it all on video too, and it was on the ground under onyx, which is
really,
I'm telling you, dude, I'm not big on to me, I
thought
it was.
They need to sponsor you.
Yeah. Heck yeah, they do.
I thought it was snake oil. Honestly, when people, it's going to kill the scent and no deer can smell me. Okay. Yeah. So I did some research. I was like, you know what? It's an $800 unit. $800 is a lot of money to me. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm selling it. All right. I'm buying it. I buy it. Dude, these deer are downwind of me, walking to me. At one point, the buck that we were watching got spooked, and it got so close to me because we're sitting on the ground. I could have reached out and touched it. And then after the buck spooked, my son shoots a doe under Ozonics as well. So I know it works. I'm a big advocate for it.
Nice.
They should sponsor you.
That
That was that was a perfect little like commercial. We need to
great.
Send it to them.
Dude, I think I'm going to, and and it's funny because their customers, I believe it's a Utah-based company actually, and dude, I reached out to something. So my ozonics got wet in the winter, and it wouldn't work. Dude, I sent it back. They said, "Here, send us $100. Send us your unit." They sent me a brand new refurbished unit. It's like, right. Let's go. So
that's pretty cool. Heck yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any ins on ozonics, let me know. I'd love to get a sponsor.
We'll keep you posted. We'll make some calls.
Utah.
Make some calls. All right, Justin. So we're gonna circle this back to MMA because I don't know anything about hunting. So sorry. I fished a couple times. Like that's it.
I get off fishing tangents. So direct me back.
Okay. So how do you see your fight with Charles Rosa going down next weekend?
Honestly, I have so much. First, let's talk about Charles, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I have much respect for Charles. He's been in the UFC for 10 years. He's been on a win-loss pattern his last couple fights. This guy is a genuine, incredible black belt grappler. He has great wrestling. He has unorthodox striking. He switches from orthodox to southpaw. He throws kicks from every angle. With that being said, I'm standing in front of him this time. And, honestly, I know he's going to hit me. I know he's going to kick me. But I think my durability is what's really going to play, because even if he does get this fight to the ground, in my first 3 fights, you would think, if you didn't know anything about me and just watch my first 3 fights, you would think I have no wrestling, I have no grappling. Well, let me change that thought. I am a collegiate wrestler of 4 years, and I have a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. But I'd rather just stand and bang, because again, I'm doing this for the fans. I'm doing this for I want exciting fights. Yeah, I could take guys down and grind them, but for one, it's exhausting, and for two, it's boring as fuck. So, anyways, circle back to your question. I think that. It's going to take me 2 rounds to figure out how to finish Charles Rosa. I think I'm going to apply a lot of pressure early on. I think he's going to try to keep me off with his side kick from southpaw. And you know what? And if it has to come, I'm going to take him down, and I'm going to show him, how good of a grappler I am, because he is comfortable off his back. With that being said, even if I take him down, it's not a for sure win. Charles is going to be diving under for leg locks. He's going to be for arm bars, for triangles. And me, I'm stubborn and short, dude. I get locked in triangles all the time, so that is a threat. I think the first round is going to be a feeling out round. We're going to see each other, what we got. I want to check his power. I want to check out what his game plan is, and then going into the second round, I'm going to figure out how to beat him. I'm going to finish him in the second round.
I dig it.
Are there odds on that yet, Zach? Are there odds on that?
There's not. I just look, but there
is odds right now. My coach. Roman Isbell, not Roman. No, he didn't tell me. My buddy Kyle from Michigan, Kyle Silver, he texted me yesterday and said that I opened up at like plus 140.
I like it. We're in.
You're on my DraftKings lineup for sure.
All in.
Sure,
and I'm going to go with the second round finish too.
Oh, second round. Hey,
cash it, baby.
If I finish him in the first, don't be upset at me, but I'm going to do my best.
No, I'm going to cash the plus 140, so we'll be good.
Hell yeah.
We'll cash all of it. Cool. Well, Justin, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope we can have you on again. This was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I would say you are an extremely refreshing UFC fighter to hear your perspective on some things, because we hear from a lot of the, I don't know if you want to call them big stars or whatever, but I've enjoyed listening to you talk and your experience and your perspective on things as much as anybody's, and I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that, man. And that's basically just what I want to be known for. No nonsense, no nonsense Keith Peterson. I'm no nonsense
Justin Jaynes.
Okay, but is your Twitter game as good as Keith Peterson's? Because his is off the hook.
It's funny because he was my ref. I don't know if it was my last fight or the fight before, and I was talking to him in the back. I'm like, "Oh, hey, Keith, I follow you on Twitter." I follow him on Twitter, on Instagram, and he said that he doesn't operate that. Those are made up.
You just ruined it for me, bro.
Yeah.
Or is he just saying that so he doesn't get in trouble?
He might just be saying that. I don't know.
We're gonna go with that.
But that's what he told me in the dressing room, and I was as bummed as you are. So I had to deflate your excitement. But he did it to me, so I had to do it back to you.
All right, shit.
But last shout out, because some people think that Jake Paul's going to beat Tyron Woodley. So please stay on that. You need to get that with me.
I just don't.
He would. He's a professional killer.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. And this is a problem that I would have. And, Tyrone has had a great career. He's already been a world champion, 5 times. But I'm not, and again, I probably shouldn't even say this on a podcast.
Oh, you should say it. It's all good, bro.
Hey, Zack, I'll give you $20 million if you take a fall against Jake Paul. But you have to go 5 rounds. What do you do?
I'm taking the 20 million. I know Zach's the fighter. I'm the non-fighter, so it's an easy decision for me. I'm taking it.
That hurts my soul as a competitor, bro.
Dude,
But 20 million's a lot of money to comfort that soul.
Hey, all right. Hey, Tyrone's a bigger name than you or I. How about 100 million? How about 50 million?
I mean, cash it.
Cash it.
I mean, I'm not going to
make sure that check don't bounce, dude.
I don't know Tyrone personally, and I don't know the financial circumstance of it. But I don't think Jake Paul should have beat Ben Askren in the first round. And when I see
so you think it's fishy too?
I don't. Well, you know what? When he hit him, when Jake got knocked out, when Ben got knocked out by Masvidal, if you watch his arms do like this weird thing, they get stiff to the side. When Jake hit him initially, his arms did the exact same thing. All right. So I do think he was hurt. But for the referee to stop it after one knock.
It's boxing, dude.
I don't think Ben cared. He just collected his check too.
Got his check. And that's and that's my only concern, because typically Tyrone Woodley against Jake Paul, I'm putting every dollar I have in Tyrone Woodley. But politics are coming into play so much in these Hollywood celebrity boxing matches. Yep. Floyd versus Logan. What? He went 8 rounds with arguably one of the best boxers of all times. What?
I took it to go 8 rounds. I told Zach, I said, I'm telling you right now, it's going to go 8 rounds. He's not going to finish it.
He knocked him out and he held him up.
It wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have made sense to Floyd to finish him, because then he's not going to be relevant anymore. He's not going to be able to make any more fights like that anymore if Floyd goes in there and demolishes him.
So you're saying if a fighter goes in and fights like he's supposed to, it's not supposed to go like that. You see what I'm saying?
100%. But it's an exhibition. Like you had to know going into that you can't go into that thinking it's a fight. I liken it to a WWE match. Like the outcome was already predicted before the fight even started, in my opinion.
And that's why I'm so weird about all these boxing matches. Like Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, he finishes in the 11th with a terrible, terrible stoppage. Like, I don't think Conor was winning the fight, but I think that was a terrible stoppage. And it's just these matches are man, Floyd is so good. He's supposed to be able to pick and choose, but I really would have liked to see more out of him. At least tat him up, at least drop him once, then
with a body shot.
He was cracking him with those body shots.
Dude, and he still couldn't put him away. I don't know. This whole celebrity boxing circus, it has me. It's a weird thing for me, man.
So what you are saying though is this: if T Wood loses, it's because he got paid to lose. You're not saying, but you're hinting that possibly.
I don't want to say that because again, just like think about how good of much of a competitor you are. Think about how much.
Oh yeah.
He's just as much, if not more.
If not more. Oh, he's more than me for sure.
And so, and you even hesitate. Hey, 10 million, Zach, throw a fight. You're like, can you imagine? Now his legacy's on the line.
Good. Well, see, when you say like throwing something too, I look at it as like, I'm a father and I have 3 sons. How, if I ever, I don't let my kid beat me in basketball. I don't let my 5-year-old beat me in Mario Kart on the Wii. There's nothing in my DNA and how I was raised. If you play or participate in a competitive event, you play to win always. Yeah. And that's how I raised my boys. And it's like, how much is your integrity worth at that point?
And that's where I'm saying. Now, I'm not saying that Tyrone is going to throw this fight. I'm not trying to come out and say that.
I know. I know.
Yeah, we get you.
What if there is that 1% chance that does come into play? Or what if, hey, I don't throw the fight, but he goes in there and just puts his hands up for fucking, 8 rounds, doesn't get hurt, but, sticks his jab a little bit, plays a little range. Tyrone, I train with Jay Haran, and Tyrone Woodley knocked Jay Haran. Jay Haran's one of the best fighters I've ever had the pleasure of training with ever. I know he didn't go super far in the UFC, but He knocked out Tyrone Woodley, knocked him out with
Flatlined
a single punch, flatlined him with a single punch.
Yeah,
against a very skilled veteran guy that's been around Strikeforce, been around WEC, been around Bellator, been in the UFC in one punch. And we're talking about a guy that doesn't like to lose in anything.
Yeah.
With that being said, can Logan Paul withstand that power? But he is a little bit bigger. I don't know, man. I'm so on the fence about it. I feel so weird about it. I'm not saying Tyrone's going to throw it. There might not even be a chance he could throw it. If he could lose. But with that in my head, when I get a weird feeling about it, I don't know. I don't know.
Justin Jaynes' advice is nobody should be betting on
Don't bet on
boxing.
this. Yeah.
Because something doesn't smell right with any of it.
Even with it not smelling right, I'm still betting Tyrone.
Yes. Yes, Justin.
I love it, Justin. You're a degenerate like me and Zach.
I'm a degen, man. I need to get my sweat, and I need to be able to get back on your podcast and be like, I told you.
You told me.
Tyrone, and I knew he was going to throw the fight away.
Yeah, we don't want to.
I can have an excuse when he loses.
We don't want you back on after you beat Charles Rosa. We want you on after T Wood knocks out Jake Paul. So you could be like, we told you. Yes,
that's right. And I think again, if they fight to both of their abilities, I think Tyrone smashes him 9 times out of 10, maybe even 9 times out of 100. But it's such a mismatch. Why is Tyrone the underdog? That's what I don't understand. Why is he? We're talking about a 5.
Because people forgot what he did to Robbie Lawler 4 years ago.
Well, you got to figure it's all the YouTubers are probably betting on Paul. You got all it's just
true.
All the money is going to come in on Paul.
But he opened. We're talking about the line makers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They know where the money's going to come in at, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If he was the favorite, say he was minus 150, and all the YouTubers just jammed on Jake, and it plus, okay, that makes sense. But to open on the line at plus 120, I just think
unless they were.
Let me explain something to you, Justin.
Unless Vegas was trying to draw the money on T Wood when they said it.
I'm going to paint the picture for you of why it did that. Because worldwide, more people know Jake Paul than Tyrone Woodley.
Sure. That makes sense.
You do that. And then when they say, who's Jake Paul fighting next? Who's this Tyrone Woodley? They just parted ways with the UFC. And if they go look up his record, they're like, oh, he's on a 4-fight skid.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's washed up. He's done. He's this, he's that. And then they feel confident going with your Mr. whichever Paul it is. I can't keep him straight. Yeah. The problem child
Jake.
one.
Jake.
Yeah, Jake, not Logan, Jake. And then they do that, and then whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Anyways, we have taken up plenty of your time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Justin. We would love to have you back on again. Super fun, 45 minutes plus. Thank you so much.
And just shoot me a text, give me a call anytime. I'd be glad to be back.
Roger that, man. Take it easy, man. We'll be watching you next weekend. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
We out.